including America. And it's not a good thing, people. It really isn't. So think about that as you move forward. Hey, Miss Sabrina. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Latanya. How y'all doing? By the way, want to thank everybody for listening to the broadcast last night. It was a success. If you are a business owner, we need you to support this broadcast. So let's get out. You can buy a commercial. If you buy 2 commercials, I'll give you a discount. We'll work on all kinds of ways to get you to support the Little Rock Central broadcast. And again, thank you everybody who listened, and thank you everybody who is going to help support this particular venture between Little Rock Central and JoynetRadio.com. So thanks a lot for that. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump out here and do our Black Facts for today.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Well, 2 days in a row, the Black Facts surround Little Rock and Arkansas proper. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. On this day in history, August 28, 1863, African-American attorney and activist Scipio Jones was born near Tulip, Arkansas. His father was Dr. Sanford Remy, a white man and the owner of Jones' mother, Jemima. Jones attended schools for blacks in the Tulip area and later moved to Little Rock, attending Walden Seminary. He then attended Bethel Institute, now known as Shorter College, where he received his bachelor's degree in 1885. During the next 4 years, Jones taught public school while studying law on his own time. On June 15, 1889, Jones passed the bar. The Supreme Court of Arkansas accepted his credentials in 1900 and by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1905. Jones practiced law in Little Rock for the rest of his life. He frequently represented indigent citizens and worked to correct abuse and injustice in Arkansas's penal system. Jones twice served in temporary capacity as a judge. The most significant case in which Jones was involved with was the defense of 12 black men arrested during the Elaine massacre. Between November 3rd and 17, 1919, 12 men were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death for murder in their roles in a supposed black uprising. The trials were marked by weak evidence, a lack of cross-examination of witnesses, and short deliberations by the local juries. Jones was hired by black citizens of Little Rock to work with the firm George W. Murphy, an attorney hired by the National Advancement of Colored People. By June 14, 1925, all 12 defendants had been released. In one legal brief, Jones described his case as the greatest case against peonage and mob law ever fought in the land. Jones is also recognized for being responsible for preventing a repeat of the Elaine massacre. He and other community leaders persuaded black citizens to avoid confrontation amidst the mob violence surrounding the lynching of John Carter on May 4th, 1927. Jones was at times criticized for his non-confrontational approach to race relations. He counted many leading white citizens of Arkansas among his friends. However, when the leaders of the Republican Party in Arkansas sought to exclude African Americans from the workings of the party, he resisted. Jones himself ran for the Little Rock School Board in 1902, but was defeated by over 2,000 votes to 181 after the Arkansas Gazette published warnings about the danger of having a black man seated on the school board. Boy, y'all just got a little history there, didn't you? In 1920, Jones helped to organize a separate party convention for black voters after the Pulaski County Convention was moved without advance notice being given to African Americans. But both the state and national party conventions refused to seat black delegates. In 1924, the Republican State Committee did agree to hold party conventions in places where all Republicans can attend, and expanded its committee to include 2 positions reserved for blacks. On May 1st, 1928, Jones was chosen as a delegate for Arkansas to the Republican National Convention. He also served in this position in 1940. In 1930, Jones was among a group of African American lawyers who sued unsuccessfully the Democratic Party in Arkansas to reverse rules that prevented black citizens from voting in the Democratic state primary elections. Jones is said to have owned roughly 10 houses in Little Rock around 1907, including a splendid house in which he and his family lived on 1808 Ringo Street. Jones was a major stockholder in the Arkansas Realty and Investment Company and was also elected president of the company. The corporation failed and was dissolved in 1911. Jones also heavily invested in People's Ice and Fuel Company of Little Rock, which succeeded for a time but failed during the Depression. Jones was married twice. His first wife, Carrie Edwards Jones, was 25 when they were married. They had a daughter, Hazel, who died as a young adult. After the death, Jones married Lily Jackson in 1917. The couple had no children. Jones was a member of Bethel AME Church in Little Rock for over 50 years. Jones died in his home in Little Rock on March 28, 1943. Among the honors given to Jones are 2 significant buildings named after him. The junior and senior high school of Little Rock was named for him and its construction in 1928 until its closing in 1970. The post office on 1700 Main is named after Jones as well. And that is our Black Fact for today. And don't forget, if you would like to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, do me a favor, give me a call at 855-525-5683 or call my cell 615-554-0568. We're going to jump out and take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio on JoynetRadio.com.
Business owner, can I talk to you for a moment? How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on JoynetRadio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come
What you know good, man?
Quality goods. Let us help you at JoynetRadio.
Did you listen to the broadcast? Good. Call you back when?
We are here to assist you in building your.
Oh, I was just calling to see if you got the.
Yeah, I got it. You know, it went to my. I guess I had when I was deleting messages, I sent them a trash.
Also, you sent my email to your trash.
Well, you know how like when you delete your email, sometimes when you delete them, they'll pop up. You know, another one pop up, but I'm already deleted. It'll go to trash. So I didn't go look. You think you delete one thing and something else, like you sent one at 1042, I'm deleting one that came at 1043, but when I'm starting to swipe it, the 1042 come up.
Yeah.
That's when I went to trash. Yeah, it was right there.
Remove the guesswork and
Did you want me to send it to her?
I already sent it to her. I just sent it to her.
Okay, cool.
With that email you gave me. So what do you think of the odds of that happening?
Nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me. At a kick above, call 501-868-8850.
Excuse me. Well, let's get it done, man. If you want me to cut cut a pre-spot, I can do that. I'll cut that
Yes,
tomorrow.
who's on JoynetRadio.
And-
It's your girl,
and-
LJ.
and let her hear that as well.
Conversations with Lakeisha. Coffee and Conversations with Lakeisha is an interactive online daily devotional that rightly divides the Word of God. It's kingdom, baby. Join us Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, that's weekday mornings, 5 a.m. at JoynetRadio.com.
Serving the families of Clark County and the surrounding area since 1966, it's Mitchell Funeral Home. Understanding that a funeral is a celebration of life, the entire staff of Mitchell Funeral Home takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional service they offer. Cremations, funeral plannings, burial policies, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are a few of the services we offer. Mitchell Funeral Home, Arkadelphia, 870-246-2611. Mitchell Funeral Home. Quality you can appreciate, service you can depend on.
All right, welcome back to the show. Robert Webb is in the house. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Welcome everybody who's joining on Facebook. Make sure you go out and download that JoynetRadio app. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast last night. I'm getting a lot of positive responses from the Little Rock Central broadcast. That's how we do it. Our next game is September 6th. It'll be against Rogers Heritage and the Tigers. Think about it from this perspective. Last year, Central was 1-8. They won't be 1-8 this year. All right. They were running around with a lot of freshmen and sophomores on that team, and it was a new team, a new coach, new everything. Things are changing at Little Rock Central, so I'm proud to bring that to you. So hope you all will get out and spread the word. We need some sponsors for these next 5 games. The proceeds for this will go to the Little Rock Central Athletic Fund. We are trying to build an athletic facility on campus, somewhere probably in the south end side of the stadium. So this is serious business. We need you all to get involved. Okay. Hey Robert, how you doing, man?
I'm up in this piece, player. I'm up in.
You know, weather's cooling down. You know what that means?
More golf.
Fishing, man. Fishing.
Oh, my bad. You're a fisher. You're a fisherman.
I'm a fisher. Yeah, I'm a fisherman. So it is cooling down, so that's a good thing. I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to get down to like 65 degrees tonight from what I understand. Now that's pretty cool.
That's
This is
really nice.
This is my favorite time of the year now. If we can just keep it that way, it would be really nice, but probably won't happen. So we got a few things to talk about today. Got a lot of response yesterday from about the Johnson & Johnson thing. There is Purdue is another company. Purdue is the company that actually makes oxycodone. Okay? And here's how bold they are. So yesterday they said that, hey, we're going to offer you some money for settlements because all Purdue does is make hydrocodone. We're going to offer you this money, and if you don't take it, we're going to file bankruptcy, and you'll get a lot less than what our offer is.
That's a G move. That's a G move.
Now that's boss right there.
That's a G move.
You know what I'm saying? They said, hey, and I think they said it was going to be like $12 billion, which it's a nice sum. But what if the lawsuits extend past $12 billion, which if everybody took them to trial, it would. I mean, as much oxycodone they gave me, I might be able to try to get some of that. People call me crazy anyway, so I could probably fake it and get a couple of G's, but I just thought that was interesting. That here's the company that addicted millions of people across America by manufacturing this drug. And their argument is that unlike Johnson & Johnson, who is diversified, Johnson & Johnson has its hands in some of everything. A lot of people don't realize that. Just like the Koch brothers. A lot of people don't realize just how much money they make off of different stuff. So Johnson & Johnson, they can pay out a settlement, but it's not going to hurt them as bad as Purdue, because Purdue only does OxyContin. They were the main manufacturer of it. All the other people were distributors, so to speak. So they'll take a hit, but Purdue, according to their officials, will go underwater. So I thought that was kind of interesting as we move forward. And as we talked about yesterday, that here we are, all of these attorneys generals are suing these states, yet we can't sue these states for the crack epidemic. And there were a lot of posts online just in various mediums that brought, and I found that interesting, that was the very thing that we had talked about yesterday, is that all the death and destruction that was wrought by this government by forcing crack into our communities, black people can't sue nobody. And I'm wondering if there's an enterprising attorney out there who would dare take on that. Because you have prima facie evidence. We saw and I think you mentioned a lot of it yesterday, some of the violence. We can look at the prison incarceration rates on how they skyrocketed from the beginning of that to even now. As a matter of fact, even in this presidential climate, what are people talking about? The 1994 crime bill. There was a bill that was passed. We can look at what was going on, what caused the bill to pass, and what happened afterwards. So there is data out there available that we can use as evidence to show that, hey, here is the aftermath of you, the government, putting cocaine or crack into our communities. The sad thing about it is that, like here in Arkansas, you can't even sue the state.
Yeah, well, that's intentional. That's by design.
I know. You can't even sue the state. But the irony is that the state can sure sue a private company, but you can't sue the state for something that they did. And so I thought that was interesting as we brought that up yesterday, as more people talked about it. Also, Daniel Pantaleo's GoFundMe account is now up to over $100,000. Okay, and there is someone who is behind it. It's called Rich Blue Line. So someone is funding these cops when they get. So it's almost like kill a black person, you get a free vacation with pay, and then of course you'll get a windfall from free Blue Line. I mean,
that is not uncommon.
No, it isn't.
But I mean, that goes to the point we made yesterday about black people being supportive of other black folk.
Well, it should be free white Blue Line.
To be what?
It should be free white Blue Line.
What you mean, free white Blue Line?
Because they typically don't, the free Blue Line, whomever that person is, they typically don't fund black cops when they get in trouble. We know that because they didn't raise that kind of money for Muhammad Noor. In fact, I'm curious where Muhammad Noor's money came for his defense, because unless the police union supported it, but they didn't raise that kind of money for him. So instead of it just should be free Blue Line or rich Blue Line, it should be rich white Blue Line, because it seems that that's the only people, white cops are the only people that they're funding. So I'm just saying.
I got you now.
855-525-5683 is the number. The Tigers got big play in the demo. Oh, that reminds me. So check this out. Did you hear all of the black fact this morning?
Yeah.
Scipio A. Jones, but there was some interesting.
What part is this? The Democrat put out?
The Gazette.
Yeah,
the Arkansas Gazette.
He couldn't get it. Putting the black in the school board would be detrimental.
Exactly. Isn't that ironic? The more things that change, the more they stay the same. See, this is why I love history. Because
it never fails you, does it?
It never fails you to point out how people really are. So the Arkansas Gazette ran interference to keep from putting Scipio A. Jones on the school board. That's just, and here we are today. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, from what I understood, backed the takeover. Man, this is just so interesting. Also, it talks a little bit about, I didn't know that Scipio A. Jones was one of the people who kept black people from rioting after the John Carter massacre.
Really?
Didn't know that. You didn't hear that part? So check this out. By June 14th, 1925, he's talking about let's see, let me find it here. He also defended the 12 men that were accused in the Elaine Carter massacre. Okay, so let's see. Jones also recognized as responsible for preventing a repeat of the Elaine massacre. He and other community leaders persuaded black citizens to avoid confrontation amidst the mob violence surrounding the lynching of John Carter on May 4th, 1927. I just think that's ironic.
Wow.
It just, I mean, he was hired by the NAACP. I just think that's ironic. So for a long time, we've been saying, don't get mad at Mr. White Man for killing your folks. I'm just saying. Love me some Scipio though.
Sip. Sip, sip, sip.
But yeah, that was an interesting black fact. Of course, what was the name of? Okay, where's Bethel Institute today?
That's Shorter College, man.
No, you heard the black facts. You trying to. So
I
that's
went to Shorter, man.
That's
I know
Shorter
that.
College.
I
That's
know
Shorter
that.
College. You know, like you already know. You heard. The
I went
black
to
facts.
Shorter, baby. I did my Shorter stint.
But that's pretty. And by the way, didn't know that Scipio A. Jones was the product of a rape.
Most of us are.
You know, so his
Most of us are.
Yeah. So and this article makes it sound so. His father, Dr. Samuel Remey, a white man and the owner of Jones's mother, and his mother name was Jemima. They make it sound as though it was something wonderful. Anyway, 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to join the show. There are some other things to talk about as well. Let me see what else we got on the agenda today. Oh, yeah. So, have you seen the article about the police union in New York? And they are complaining because Pantaleo was fired that they are under attack. And the union leader, I think his name is Pat Lynch. You think this guy is bad here in Little Rock? Man, that guy is just, he's pathetic. You know, and I'm getting a little tired of all of these police unions trying to pretend like that they are under attack. And now what they're moving to be is a special citizen, which means that they want certain political rights as, you know, black people or minorities in general. I just don't get this, and I don't get how people are standing around and allowing this to happen.
Okay,
But this is just me.
I just need to clarify a couple of things.
Okay.
So, because this always irritates the hell out of me. Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, here we go. The average age of officers who were feloniously killed was 37 years old. The victim officers had served in law enforcement for an average of 10 years, all of the times of the fatal incidents. Of the 55 officers, 55 officers were killed in the line of duty last year. This is 2018. Mm-hmm. 55 officers were killed in the line of duty. 52 were male, 3 were female, 46 were white, 7 were black, 2 were Native American. All right? right? 23 died as a result of investigation or enforcement activity. Got that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just want to make that point real quick now. 1 second. Let me give you a little bit more.
And you're bringing this to the forefront for what reason?
Because how can they be under attack?
Well, they're not under attack.
I'm under attack, and I want to make sure I make this clear.
Right. They're not under attack. And that's why you have to be careful here, because they've already got license to kill. That's pretty clear. Now, it's not written in stone, but every time one of them goes to trial, they always get off, or they get a slap on the wrist. So they've already got license to kill. What else do you want? Look, when you got license to kill, what other rights do you want? Do you want free housing? Do you want free cars? Well, some of y'all getting that anyway. Certainly in Little Rock, you're getting free cars. You can drive Little Rock patrol cars home, so you're getting free cars. What else you want? You want free groceries? Some of y'all are probably getting that too, unbeknownst to the citizens. I know you get free donuts.
Stop.
I know you probably get free. Look, I know you get free Chick-fil-A. You know how I know? So I was at the Chick-fil-A in North Little Rock early one morning about 2 months ago. All right? So I'm standing in line, and there's a couple of police officers that are sitting down, and one gets up, walks behind the counter, and just fixes his lemonade and grabs a chicken sandwich. No one says a word. No one says, hey, sir, that'll be $5.64. So you're already getting free food in a lot of places. I saw that with my own eyes. So how many other places are, hey, y'all need to be feeding them at Waffle House. Maybe you won't be having any more shootings over there.
I doubt it.
And someone just said they get a discount at Popeyes. So what? I'm serious. I'm not trying to be facetious. What else do you want? Because when you get to the point where you're licensed to kill someone and you don't suffer the consequences, man, you might as well be God at that point. You might as well be God. I'm just saying.
So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
2018. Police killed 64 black men and boys. This is black men and boys. Mm-hmm. That ain't women. Mm-hmm. That ain't white people. This is black men. Mm-hmm. This is black men.
Yep.
7 black police officers were killed. 55 police officers were killed total. What's the number? They killed 9 more brothers without guns. Come on, y'all. Who's under attack?
But again, what's that old saying? If you tell a lie long enough, the world will believe it.
Yeah.
So, and this is part of why they continually get off on these. Here's their argument every time. You know what? Police have a tough job. Okay. Mm-hmm. Police have a tough job.
I think I got a tougher job than they do.
Well, I mean,
unfortunately, I ain't got to put on nothing blue for people that want to kill me.
Well, if you got a tough job,
I got to navigate death every day.
Well,
I navigate death every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
So let me tell you, and just to bring Andrew Luck in this. Andrew Luck just resigned from the NFL, turning down millions of dollars. Now, obviously, he's made already $100 million. But you know why he resigned? Because he has a tough job. You know what he said? And people don't think, I'm tired of getting up every morning and hurting. So what did he do? He walked away from it. He said, it's too tough for me now.
Yeah.
So my point being is, here's a man who walked away from millions of dollars because he basically said, man, this stuff is too tough for me. Yeah. I can't take it anymore. So if you are a police officer and you're saying this job is tough, then maybe it's time for you to quit. Because if it's so tough that you're killing innocent people,
maybe you should quit. Yeah.
Maybe you need to quit. I don't want to hear this argument anymore about how tough my job is. Look, you have somewhere else to go.
You could have been there.
You see what I'm saying?
You know, I'm glad Chief's coming next week. We get to talk to him a little bit about this. But man, it's tough for me to understand. I shouldn't say understand. It's tough for me to empathize with these brothers at all. Point blank, period. It's tough for me to empathize with them. It really is. It's just tough.
Well,
I'm gonna stop there.
Well, it's tough for me too, and it's certainly tough when I know that, there are people that are, this whole thing about there are good cops. At heart, maybe there are, but until you all start snitching on other cops, I can't follow that logic. You understand what I'm saying? Not to berate anyone, not to talk down anyone. I'm just simply saying, if you tell me you're a good cop and all the graft and corruption that are going on in police departments across this country, or every time there's a shooting, all of you all marry up your statement so they sound alike. Or every time we see a video and you're beating the hell out of someone who's laying on the ground and you keep screaming at him, stop resisting, when it's clear he's not resisting. I'm sorry, I can't follow that logic.
Well, I gotta say stop resisting so when I shoot you, it all makes sense.
Well, again, train to undermine the system as opposed to be a leader in that system. That's what bothers me. And that's what bothers a lot of other people. So, again, you got a tough job. I'm sorry. I don't have much sympathy for you, dog. That's just me. 855-525-5683 is the number. Was today the day that Emmett Till was kidnapped? I know a lot of things are popping up. I'll have to look at that. A lot of things are popping up as far as that today's day. There are a couple of other things I need to get to here.
Knock them all out, man.
Well, I think that's all the news items for today. A Georgia senator is resigning at the end of the year. This is getting more and more interesting as we go. Let's see.
Why did Senator resign?
Oh, I know what it was. The other thing that was in the story about Scipio A. Jones was about the Republican Party. Okay. So the Republican Party ran all kinds of interference against Scipio A. Jones as well here in Arkansas. So the argument that the Republican Party was for black people, will y'all please stop? Stop, please. Stop. Okay, I can't take it no more. A right wing and a left wing is part of the same bird. Part of the same bird. 855-525. Let's see. Yes, he was kidnapped, and the day MLK gave his speech at the March on Washington. Oh, so there you go. So that's why all of the stuff for Emmett Till is popping up today. 855-525-5683 is the number. We talked a lot yesterday about, Danny Glover is for reparations. Societies must apologize for slavery. We talked about that a little bit as well. I think you all kind of already know how I feel about that. Donald Trump is complaining that Fox News is not giving him enough good coverage.
Not giving who enough good coverage?
Your president. He's complaining that they're not giving him enough good coverage.
So who's not giving it to him?
Fox News.
No. Say it ain't so.
Well, when you're an idiot, it's hard to garner good coverage, I'm just saying. A little locally, North Little Rock police, or at least traffic stop quota concerns in North Little Rock. Do they have a quota in North Little Rock as far as traffic stops are concerned?
Everybody has a quota.
No, they don't. If we're going to ask
Everybody
Chief next week,
Chief's not going to tell us.
they don't have quotas, do they?
Yeah, everybody has quotas, Dave.
Here's the article by Fox 16. If you see those blue lights behind you, sometimes you know why, sometimes you don't. It's a big part of the job, but there's a lot more to it than that, said a retired police officer. Traffic stops can often be a source of frustration. Okay. In 2018, staff notes showed there were new guidelines asking for day and night shift officers to make 4 stops on average and midnight shift to make 3 stops. You better average your 4 stops a day or you can face some kind of punishment, the officer said. He was still on the force when the instructions were issued. He says he was threatened to have his shift and days changed and lose his take-home vehicle if he didn't make quality traffic stops. One staff note says one officer already had their take-home vehicle taken away. So North Little Rock allows them to take them home too, huh? Arkansas Code 126303 states, no state or local agency may use the number of arrests or citations issued by a law enforcement officer as a sole criterion for promotion, demotion, or dismissal, or the earning of any benefit provided by the agency. You're saying it's all about traffic stops, but I'm being punished. So no, it's not about stops. You're wanting tickets and arrests to generate revenue. Fast forward to 2019, new staff notes show Assistant Chief Ralston wants to see more non-moving citations and another look at traffic stops because they're on the deadline. What is a non-moving citation?
Probably disorderly conduct, public
Disturbing the peace.
stuff like that.
Okay. Documents provided by the department show officers averaged about 1.5 stops a day over the most recent 2 months. But the retired officer is hearing change is coming. We're back on it. Get your stops. So the bottom line to this article is, folks, in North Little Rock, if you're driving around, you're going to get stopped because these officers have to meet a quota. But they don't have to meet a quota. But they have to meet a quota.
How you become employee of the year? How you become police officer of the week? All about arrests. How many people you arrest? How do you become officer of the year? All about how many people you arrest. They got nothing to do
And
with
shoot.
else. They could get you some bonus points, I'm sure.
It'll get you some time off of pay.
It'll definitely get you time off of pay.
I'm laughing, but it's pathetic.
But the crazy thing about that, though, I mean, think about that whole process, right? So if a police officer shoots you, Dave, you and we still have to pay him while he's off.
Right?
Then if he sues us and he wins, guess what? He gets his job back. But then if you go down there and you sue the city, you still end up paying for this officer's mistake.
Yes, you do.
So in every city we live in, when police officers shoot and kill innocent black men, we pay for it. Taxpayers, not only do we carry the burden of them being shot, we also carry the financial burden.
So let me explain something to you. I'm talking about all this because I'm working my way up to a story.
You there yet?
I'm here now.
Okay, let's roll.
Let's just read this together, girls and boys.
This is gonna be a good one.
Okay, we're in Pennsylvania County, Virginia. A man suspected of murdering 3 people in Virginia is now in police custody following a chase of a naked suspect. Matthew Bernard, 19, was considered armed and dangerous when police issued an alert to the public Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. By 12:18, Pennsylvania County Sheriff Mike Taylor said a suspect had been taken into custody, though he never mentioned Bernard by name during the press conference. According to Taylor, he was taken into custody less than a mile from the scene of the crime. Bernard was naked and unarmed when he was captured after attacking a groundskeeper at a local church. A motive is not yet known for the murders, and Taylor would not release the names of the victims. He said officers were on the scene about 10 to 12 minutes after the first 911 call. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, what was that white lady's name that played on Golden Girls? That was funny, that everybody liked. What's her name?
Betty White.
There you go. So,
You're sick, brother.
gotcha.
Sick, brother.
Gotcha.
Sick, brother.
Because I saw the video. Robert, you haven't seen the video. Let me see if there's a video accompanying this story. So I saw the video this morning of police chasing this guy. Okay?
Okay.
And he's running after the police. Now, you've just been accused. Oh, come on, Robert. Come over here real fast. Here's the video. Okay? So, now look at this. The police is running from him. He just killed 3 people, allegedly. And the police are running from him.
They didn't shoot him?
No. Wait, watch. Watch. Look, he sprays him with pepper spray. He doesn't even tase him. Now, the video is funny, but it's sick when you begin to think about it. Okay? So I don't know who's videoing him doing. Look, so now he runs up on this guy. He grabs a guy, and they still. Now, that's a regular citizen. So what we're seeing is that this, and he still doesn't shoot him. Citizen is at harm. In harm's way. Is that ridiculous or what?
Well, maybe.
What's the name of that lady's name again?
Maybe they knew the guy was naked, so therefore he didn't pose a threat to himself or others, so they had no reason to shoot him.
Are you a Republican?
No, I'm black.
Exactly. You know that is the most dumbest thing you could have ever said.
That hurt my feelings, Dad.
I just like to be honest, my brother. Because you know if that man would have been black, he was suspected of killing 3 people. Ain't no way the damn police would have been running from him because he was naked. You know that. So how could you even fix your mouth to even say that?
Yeah.
So the point is, to all of this stuff we've been talking about this hour, is that it's clear that there's a bias, and there are a lot of people who don't want to admit it, but there's quite a bit of a bias. Let's see, in other news, pastor says, I asked God if Trump was racist, and God said, no. So it's settled. What was that lady's name again? Robert? What was the lady that played in Golden Girls?
Rue McClanahan?
No, not her. What was her name? You just called her name.
Betty White.
No, he isn't.
You are sick, brother.
Oh, Lord have mercy. But he was on the Jim Baker's show. You remember Jim, don't you? Jim and Tammy Faye. He's still out there spouting his lies and deceit. But he says that he asked God if Trump was racist.
And what God said?
God said no. He told him, yo, man, I'm going to tell you, don't tell nobody
I think
else.
it's really incredible when God talks to certain people. He's going to talk to all of us. He don't call us all. He just said, hey, David, this is God.
Oh, good.
David, get up and go to work.
He says,
Your boss
he
is not
says,
racist, David.
I asked God about it. And I said, God, and you know, it's good to know God where you can talk to him.
I'm just curious if you talk to my God, the one who turned water into wine at the party. I'm just curious if you talk to this
Because I'm in a moment right here.
My bad.
Because he really wants to talk to us. about these day-to-day issues. And I said to the Lord, you know, Lord, is Trump racist? And God said to me, it was the fastest no God has ever given me. He says, no, he's not.
It's the fastest no he's ever given me. If God told Jim Trump ain't racist, guess what? Trump ain't no racist.
Oh, man, these people kill me, man.
Why you hating, Dave? Come on, man, stop it.
I wonder, was that no faster than the prostitute around the corner?
You sick, man.
Woo. Okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there for comic relief. You know, I don't doubt that people may be able to communicate with supernatural beings. I don't doubt that at all, Robert, and you shouldn't either.
What?
That people can communicate with supernatural beings.
Hold on, wait. Let's back up. So, you saying that Tammy Faye Baker's husband said...
That wasn't Tammy Faye Baker's husband. That was someone that was on his show.
Oh, somebody...
He was a black man, by the way. A black preacher.
A black preacher?
Yeah, he was black.
So God talked to black preachers? I thought he don't talk to white preachers. I thought God himself was a racist because he only talked to white preachers. I didn't know he talked to black preachers too. That's pretty cool. I'm always baffled when we get to religious conversations. The reason I'm always baffled is you always got some lunatic who takes religion and does whatever the hell he thinks he wants to do with it. And nobody says anything. Everybody's cool with it. He's a man of God. He's a man of God.
Well, that's part of the reason we're in the mess that we are in, because anybody and everybody can claim that they done talk to the big guy upstairs.
The Holy Father.
Yeah. And it hadn't happened. But, you just got to be careful. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, anyway, 855-525-5683.
Calling all God. Calling all God.
You know, them prosperity preachers, they pretty cool too.
I like the prosperity preachers. At least they straight up.
And now...
You ain't going to heaven if you don't break us off.
And
God says there's a price to get into heaven.
And now you ain't...
Heaven has a price. Heaven like a hotel.
You ain't coming to my church when it's a hurricane.
Heaven like a hotel, player. Heaven like a hotel. You got to pay to stay.
There you go.
You can't come in here for free. You better start paying for your accommodations like y'all do for them trips y'all go on every year. Stop paying in January for your trip in December. Come on. God ain't playing with you. I love that, man. I love it. At least say straight up, man. Ain't like these other cats.
Since we're talking about religion, let me show you what I stumbled upon. I do reading a lot. And so someone sent this to me, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. I mean, I know this is about the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Don't do this to me.
And what I tell people is that racism is a social construct. It's baked into the system. And that's why it's such a tough time. Tough. Oh, wait a minute. Has Facebook removed my thing?
Yeah, they let you talk about Jehovah's.
Oh, here it is. This was in the Watchtower. Here's the question for you. We got a few minutes before I top it out. Is there anything in the Bible that reveals the origin of the Negro?
Is it what?
Is there anything in the Bible that reveals the origin of the Negro? This was a question that was asked to the Watchtower. The Watchtower is that newspaper that they like to give to you. The answer, it says, it is generally believed that the curse of Noah pronounced upon Canaan was the origin of the black race.
Let's say it again.
It is generally believed that the curse which Noah pronounced upon Canaan was the origin of the black race. Certain it is that when Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants, shall be he until his brethren," he pictured the future of the colored race. They have been and are a race of servants. But now, in the dawn of the 20th century, we are all coming to see this matter of service in its true light, and to find that the only real joy in life is in serving others, not bossing them. There is no servant in the world as good as a good colored servant. And the joy that he gets from rendering faithful service is one of the purest joys there is in the world. Woo! Okay. I know some of y'all didn't get that. Okay.
No.
Yeah, Latanya, I'm serious.
No.
I'm serious.
No.
Okay. By the way, how could you be cursed of blackness when you were already black?
No. I can't do this with you. I can't do this with you. We gotta talk about school. We gotta talk about school districts on us. I can't with you today.
We're headed in that
I
direction.
can't do this with you today. Oh my God, I can't with you today.
But the point is that I see so many black people that are Jehovah's Witnesses. This is proof positive that you all don't read your Bibles. Okay?
But let me tell you what's cool about you. Let me tell you what's cool about the whole Jehovah's Witness religion, right? It's got to be a trick to it. When your religion says, "Hey, listen, don't believe in man.
Hit that power button.
Only believe in God. Only believe in God. Don't believe in man. Just God. Don't believe in nothing else. If your kids get sick, let God heal them. If they die, it was God's will." Where the hell they come from? I don't get that one, man. That one takes me down and around the block. I can't get with that one. I can't get with that one. I can't do this with you today.
Woo. Oh man. I just thought I'd throw that out there for people to. The point being is this: as you all need to start paying attention to your religions, you all need, if you're going to follow a certain religion, it doesn't matter what it is, then you need to start paying attention to it. What is it teaching? What was its origins? Because if its origins are based on bigotry and racism, then you are doing nothing but propagating that thing. That's what you all need to be paying attention to. I'm just saying. We're going to go out and take the top of the hour break. We'll be back in a moment. That was pretty funny, though. You're listening to Black Focus Radio on JoynetRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, saints abroad, get ready from Sumter, South Carolina. It's Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection. Anybody here that know anything about old school church? Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection, a talented bunch of seasoned veterans, have been doing this a little while now, but have just released for your enjoyment their new single. Save me, Jesus. Save me, Jesus. Save me, Jesus. Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection. This new project is on all digital outlets.
But you know, that scripture is what white people use to justify slavery. That scripture right there.
Call now, 803-847-6227. That's 803-847-6227. And enjoy Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection. Save me, Jesus. Save me, Jesus. Hey, mark this number in. 501-406-7134.
501-406-7124. That will get you some fabulous chicken wings delivered right to your door. I'm talking grill mac and chicken wings with all of the flavors like spicy cake, honey hot, garlic hot, atomic hot, ranch hot.
Talked about that.
All American spicy lemon pepper just to name a few. Oh, you want to keep going? Yeah, country fried, mild barbecue, honey barbecue, honey mustard. I'm telling you, this is going down. Just call it up at 501-406-7134. That's 501-406-7134. It's the great American wings, and I'm telling you, they are delicious. And delivered right to your door. Call that number and get in touch today. As a matter of fact, you can drop by. We're located at 6323 Earl Glen Road in Little Rock. Great American wings.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal
You said what?
bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law.
That's usually what we have after 12 anyway.
501
Yeah.
503 5095. Don't fix your legal issues alone. You need an attorney
This person's been listening the whole hour.
provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address
Wonder who that is in Morrilton.
McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Business owners, spread the word about your goods and services during the Little Rock Central Tigers 2019 football season. This is a great opportunity to inform the largest alumni base in the state of Arkansas about your great products. We'll professionally produce your ads or submit your own. You must act quick as a cat because spots are limited. Contact David W. Coleman at 615-554-0568.
So did you get an email from,
Tigers proceeds to benefit the Little Rock Central
yeah.
Tigers Athletic Fund.
You got it. Easy Locks answer to your aggravation. The Joy Network.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. By the way, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the people in Puerto Rico as Hurricane Dorian heads their way just 2 years after the last one. It doesn't look good, and of course, their president ain't gonna help much either. If y'all don't realize it, you do realize that Puerto Rico is part of America. I know some of y'all may not realize that, but they're expecting that storm to get pretty bad down there and head towards Florida. With the first week of football headed, there's going to be a lot of games that might be canceled in Florida this weekend. So if you're going down that way, I know it is Labor Day weekend. A lot of people are planning this last trip of the summer. Just pay attention to the weather. If you're going southeast, because it could get pretty nasty from what I'm understanding here. So just be aware of that as you move forward. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us if you want to talk, if you've got something that you'd like to bring up. Robert, you talked a little bit about the school board. Let's see. Well, speaking of which, missing Johnny Key from public meetings about LRSD. Governor Asa Hutchinson, we deserve better. Well, that was a post by Dr. Whitfield. And they are still pressing the flesh. But unfortunately there is not enough people that are involved in this fight to really make a difference. And what I mean by that, until black preachers get involved more so, until you start raising enough cane and stop inviting them to your churches, this is going to continue. They don't really care about what you're doing or what you're saying. That's just the bottom line on that. This is clearly a losing fight. And I don't know, I mean, you help me. Where do you go from here? Because it's pretty clear that the governor and the powers that be have not paid one iota of attention to people who have been raising hell about this. So where do you go?
I don't know. It depends on how you look at this whole thing. For me, I mean, I think it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. What I find to be troubling is, I think last night they had to have some good conversations and get some stuff off their chest. But how will that translate? I mean, what will we see after that? That's what's important. What will we see after?
So when you say how will that translate, what do you mean?
So everybody got to express their feelings last night. I thought everybody had an opportunity to share how this has made them feel and how they look, and how they feel about the takeover.
They don't care about your feelings. Isn't that obvious?
Well, I think to some degree they have to, but
why? You tell me.
Well, I think they have to because you are a part of the system. You are part of.
You have no power. I ain't got to care about nothing. You gonna do what I say.
They have more power than they think they have. You know that, right?
Well, right now you have no power. What do you what? And I'm being facetious, but I'm being serious because before you. Let me just go back to this thing with that I got a lot of hits on. This quote from Malcolm X, and it was a quote that I said yesterday before I left, and as I thought about it, and we're thinking about this school board thing. Here's what Malcolm says: having the opportunity to ride on the front, the back, or the middle of someone else's bus doesn't dignify you. When you have your own bus, then you'll have dignity.
I agree with that.
So my point in bringing that up is there have been protests, there have been meetings, if Dr. Whitfield got $1 for every time she spoke on this issue, Lord, that lady would be rich right now. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, and let me give you another example. 3 years ago at the University of Missouri, those kids had been complaining for years about the racial problems that was on their campus, and they were ignored. Mm-hmm. They were ignored. And in referencing that issue at the University of Missouri, they decided to strike out a different way. Mm-hmm. And it changed the dynamics. My point being is that this has been going on 4 years and 7 months. Okay. And nothing is changing. The governor has basically said, kiss my ass. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to appoint people that I want. And there's not a damn thing you all can do about it. At what point does complaining and showing up at the meetings, at least the tactics, need to change?
Well, I hate to say this, but I got to, because it's what I got to say.
You just being you. You gotta be you. You gotta be you.
From the day this thing started, I've been really disappointed. And what I've been disappointed in is that the whole conversation's been around the takeover. Mm-hmm. There's not been one solution brought to help the kids who are struggling. Mm-hmm. There's no conversation about that with anyone. Mm-hmm. I'm critical of all of them when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. The advocates who are against the takeover, and the people who took the school district over. There is no plan. Our kids are the one who are really suffering in this, mm-hmm. because there has been no conversation about how do we properly educate kids and move them from where they are to another level. Conversation's never been had on either side. And what disappointed me last night was you had students who got up there and said, hey, my education is great. Well, that's you. That's one kid, right? We're talking about all the kids in the district. And unfortunately, last night, this is why I hate these kind of protests, because after you protest so long, you can't keep saying that it's bad. You got to say it's good. Oh, it was good. What empirical data do you have to show it? I don't need it. It was just good. And you got people who are coming up there saying now, our school district was good. Well, think about what we just did. All the kids that we're losing through the cracks, we're going to continue to lose them because there's nothing will ever change to address the issues with those kids. In the 4 years that they've done these protests and they've had these meetings, not one individual, not one, has said, how are we going to properly educate kids who are falling behind? How are we going to properly educate kids who are not reading on grade level? How are we going to properly educate the kids in the Little Rock School District? That has not been said or uttered from anyone's mouth in this whole thing. How can you say that you want a better school district and you're not talking about the kids? I done heard conversations about the teachers. I done heard conversations about administration. I done heard conversations about the Board of Education. I done had conversations about advocates. I done had conversations about buildings. I done had conversations about money. But the most important asset in this whole discussion is kids. And there has not been one damn discussion about kids. So I say, you asked me, what was your question? What is the next step? Start talking about how you're going to properly educate kids. Because that is yet to be talked about. Nobody, not anybody who's been involved in this thing has yet to mention kids. Everybody mentioned that they took their district, but that's it. Nobody's talked about the kids who are failing in Little Rock School District. Does that not matter to anyone? And that's and let me say this. That's black or white. That ain't what I'm saying to Johnny Key. That ain't what I'm saying to Asa Hutchinson. I'm saying that to Anika and Dr. Whitfield. I'm saying to Dr. Whitfield. I'm saying to all of them. Nobody has made it a point to say what's up with the kids. How we gonna help the kids? Ain't nobody said that. And you can't tell me you helping the kids by getting the district back. If you take my car because my brakes done went out, and you take it from me and say, hey, I'm taking your car, but I constantly keep complaining, I want my damn car back, but you don't fix the brakes? How did you help me? You gave me my car back, my car ain't no better than it was before. This is problematic, and I'm really disappointed because I thought this would be a really good opportunity to see some progress in Little Rock School District.
Well, the point, and I agree with you totally, but the point that I'm raising about this is the fact that when you look at the results, okay, I'm talking about you started protesting this 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. Are you any further along in what your requests are or your demands are from then to now? And I would argue just personally that you're not. Now, I'm not criticizing those who protest, because you know how some of you black folks are. I can't believe they coming. He always trying to pretend like he's so down here to criticize that. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm simply saying that at some point you have to change your tactics. Okay? Because it's kind of like I tell people in the radio business. One of the things, when you hear commercials, I try to make sure that my commercials that we run on this station, not mine, but the station commercials, that I do a lot of spots here. So what I try to do is alternate my spots. So you might hear my voice, somebody else's voice. Hear my voice and somebody else's voice. If I can keep from, you don't hear my voice, my voice, my voice. Because what happens, the human mind begins to tune that sound out. It might be new information, but because it's the first thing your mind hears is sound. You get that, right?
Yeah.
Then it interprets the sound. So if every spot that we run on this commercial is one voice, some of those spots are not being heard as far as its content.
I got you.
All right? So the same thing applies when you're in a movement, a protest. if you're doing the same thing over again, those people that are against you, they become mentally and physically prepared to block you out, because they know at every meeting, oh wait, this is just so and so. They say the same thing. Boop, turn you off. What I'm saying now is that you've been doing this for 4.5 years. You've got no results. None whatsoever. Okay?
Well,
what do you do now? Do you stay the course, or do you say, okay, it's time to flip the script?
I will tell you this. For me, I hadn't been involved in this, right? And so for me, I don't want, and like you said, Dave, I don't want to be critical of their methods. I don't want to do that. I just want to express when I was an advocate, but I'm retired now. But when I was an advocate,
gosh, we really need you back in the movement.
No, when I was an advocate, I had a different.
Call Robert.
I had a different approach. So my approach was, when you saw me doing things publicly, that's because I had exhausted all my options privately. Because I believe you can get more done in an email and phone calls and quiet meetings than you can with these big protests, right? I believe conversation rules the nation. Let's get in the room and let's hash this out, right? That's what I believe. I firmly believe that, right? So I would have asked for the group to ask Monday night, what do we have to do to get our school board back? Really? You asking that damn question 4 years later? You should have already known that, and your goal should have been working with somebody to make sure you met those objectives. You with me? You can't come 4 years later and say, hey, what we got to do now?
Yeah, but realistically, they never gave any objectives.
But why did you not? But what? How would you? Listen, Dave.
Don't get mad at me, Robert.
Dave, how could you be in a process and not know what you need to do to get the very thing you want back? How do you not know that?
Because, just playing the other side, the governor had no conversation with you. The governor and they had already decided, based on the information that I got, of how things were going to be, how things were going to happen, and there was no room for dialogue. That therein lies the problem to me, is that not one time has this governor addressed the citizens of Little Rock and said, hey, let's meet. Send your representative.
Why would he?
Well, but see, that's the problem.
No, it's not.
It is, because he doesn't have to do that.
Okay, Dave.
So
Dave, if I'm an advocate, Dave, if I'm an advocate, right? There's three things I need to know, right? The first thing is I need to know how. I need to know the how. What is the process to get me what I want?
Okay, right. So stop. So if I'm the governor.
No, hold on. I ain't talking about the governor.
Okay.
I'm talking about if I'm an advocate, I need to know how. What steps do I need to take to get me what I want? Right. Right? All right? I need to know that.
And you have to go to that person or entity that has what you want.
First, if I can't find that information independently,
okay,
then I gotta seek out someone.
Right.
Once I find out what that information is, then I craft a plan according to that information. Because if my ultimate goal is to get the district back, then I need to find out what that looks like, right? And I need to know that. I need to know this right now. So the day you took me over, January 28, 2015, I need to know January 28, 2015, what it looks like for me to get the district back, right? I don't need to know that 4 years later.
I agree with you.
You with me?
I agree.
Now here it is, 4 years later, you're asking the question, what must I do now to get my district back? It's too late.
Well,
you should have been working on this from the get-go. Well, because you should have been having private meetings. You should have been having conversations about, okay, how can we meet these benchmarks, right? Give me some dates. That's why I say I'm disappointed in the way this has gone, because you have to ask yourself, what's the ultimate goal here?
Well, based on what I've seen, and obviously I'm late to this process when just moving here, when it had already been taken over. But based on the information that I've seen and heard, this governor has refused to meet or talk to anyone.
Why wouldn't he talk with anybody?
Okay, so you're
But
telling.
this is-
So if you're, who do I go to ask the questions that you just asked?
You start with the AA board. That's where you start because they are the ones who initially took you over. Okay, that's who you start with. You start with the AA board.
And you're saying no one ever went and did that?
I don't know because you couldn't have done it if you're still asking people now. What's the criteria to take us back to local control?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I think that question is kind of out of context.
How so?
Because I know for a fact that question has been asked on multiple occasions. Okay? I remember going up to the Capitol when they had the meeting in the old, was it the Supreme Court Hall? That question was asked on multiple occasions. So the question has been asked. What I'm simply saying is that if I take something from you, and you say, okay, I'm going to go talk to Dave and see what I need to do to get what Dave took from me back.
Right. That makes sense, right?
But if Dave never talks to you, then how are you going to know what I need to do to get what I took back from you?
That's a good point, Dave.
Okay?
That's a good point.
And based on what I've seen,
Okay.
is that this governor has not talked to anyone as it relate, or even his underlings, has not even. You would tend to believe. See, here's the problem I have from day one about the takeover, as I've researched it. Is that okay? You're gonna take the school over because you're saying that the schools are failing, right? So your premise is we're taking the schools over because we're gonna make it better.
Right.
All right. So how are you gonna do that? There's no one to question what they've done. In fact, these schools have not improved under the takeover.
But Dave, if that's the case, why the hell are you talking about everything else? You don't talk about nothing else. You talk about that.
Well, they are.
No.
Some are.
All you hear is we want our district back.
Well, I think that's taken out of context. They are talking about those things.
Where?
I've heard Dr.
When?
Whitfield talk about it.
When, though?
I've heard.
Is that a constant communication?
I don't know, 'cause I'm not
editorials in the newspaper. Have you seen
Well, you're not going to get
anything
any editorials in the newspaper because the newspaper.
How do you know? You see anything Arkansas Times in? That's the
the
one y'all
newspapers
love so
take
much.
over. Why you say y'all, man?
That's what y'all love, that white supremacist group, the Arkansas Times.
Well, all these papers are white supremacists. All these media outlets are white supremacists. Come on, man. Racism baked in the system. It's a social construct. So why you trying to throw dirt on me because I read the Arkansas Times? Is that shade?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. I just
Kinda.
asking.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just asking.
All right, but seriously, when you have people, when you have advocates who are advocating on behalf of education, what's the most important piece of education? Because without kids, you don't need no teachers. Without kids, you don't need no administrators.
I think it's the pencil
Without
sharpeners,
kids, you don't need no
because-
buses.
because-
Without kids, you don't need no buildings.
Well, I
But
think it's the
there is
pencil
no
sharpeners.
conversation around kids.
Because if I don't have a pencil sharpener, I can't get up and look at
This
little Sally.
movement, this movement is the most disappointing movement. One of the most important.
So
disappointing
you're
movements.
basically making my point,
What's
is
that?
that tactics need to be changed.
I think at this point, it's over with. Because you have spent 4 years driving a wedge between you and the people that you should be sitting at the table with. You cannot have change on the outside. Let me tell you what I've learned. Let me tell you the one thing I've learned. No matter what you do, no matter how you do it, you got to do it at the damn table. If you want to scream, you need to be sitting at the table and scream so the people you're screaming at can hear what you're screaming. You with me? If you ain't sitting at the table screaming, you're just wasting your breath. Now, I'm not trying to say that my way is right. I'm not saying that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I want my people to win. Whatever I'm working on, I want them to win, right? And we identify what winning looks like. Winning might look like getting your job back. Winning might look like just getting your story out. Winning might look like just some damn body hearing your story, right? You have to identify how you win. Unfortunately, in this situation, the only way you win is to get the district back. But it doesn't help anybody. Who wins in that?
I don't think that's a win if you just get the district back.
So if you hear the conversation, all you hear people say is what? Give me back my district. Nobody's saying help my kids learn. Nobody's saying that. Have you ever noticed why there's no parent involvement in this thing? Because the district is broke in a lot of ways. And those things need to be addressed. I've been to school with kids, and I've seen how they treat their parents. The district is broken, man. People don't want to talk about it. They want to try to make it seem like it's all fixed. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you a really interesting thing. You ready? So when this thing first happened, they brought in some people from NEA, from NEA in DC, right? Mm-hmm. So they bring all these people in. We go over to Hall High School. They invite me to come. Everybody gets up and talk about how wonderful a district is. I got up and said, hey, I don't agree with all of them. I think the district was screwed up. The district was okay, but it had a lot of issues. I was one of the kids who fell through the cracks. So I think the district needs to be fixed. I said I would have agreed with this takeover had they not done it this way. I would have totally agreed with it because I think our district needs to be fixed. I still believe that, right? My thing is, it never gets fixed if no one is willing to talk about the hard things. Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about what's really hard to talk about. Let's talk about kids. Don't say anything else about the takeover. Stop talking about that. Let's talk about kids, right? Let's talk about kids who are failing. Let's talk about how we can make those kids' lives better.
But Robert, don't you understand that the ultimate goal is not to fix the district? The ultimate goal is to make money off of this district. And the ulterior motive is not to educate black children.
So
don't you understand?
So
that?
why do we even care then?
Well, my argument has been from day one is that you have to educate your own.
You know, black people say really ugly things. And I used to hear black people say this all the time, my kid gonna be okay. They used to really bother me. Because, you know, I didn't grow up in a family like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you came to my house and we all went somewhere, whether you had money or not, you ate. When I went somewhere with my family, no matter who went, whether you had money or not, you ate. Mm-hmm. Right? If you got in trouble and somebody did something, y'all all got your butt beat, right? It was a village mentality. Mm-hmm. We all in this together, right?
Right.
But now black folks, we've gotten to the point that we are no longer in this together. We are only thinking about us. And the reason this movement bothers me is this movement has become like the city of Little Rock. The city of Little Rock never wants to address its issues. It always wants to tell you about the great things they've done. And those things are good to know. But think about all the bad things that you're not doing, right? Or the bad things that you are doing. You got to talk about what's wrong if you really want to get better. And nobody seems to want to do that when it comes to the school district. Even the advocates are not even talking about the issues in the district. Because listen, how can you say that the district is so screwed up, but you keep saying the district got worse under local control? How did it get worse? It was 15 schools that had D's. How did it get worse? And everybody keeps saying there was only 6 schools that were failing. Yeah, there was 6 that was failing. You had 15 that had D's. So was that 21 schools? So almost 50% of your schools were failing. 50%, Dave. You get that, right? Where is the damn conversation about that? There is none. And that's what bothers me. Because we're not looking at the district honestly and saying, you know what? Yeah, we got a decent district. But let's see how we can fix it.
Well, I think a lot of people have taken their eyes off the prize. Okay, that's really the bottom line on that, because I simply, and that's why I brought up the topic of, we've been seeing this for 4.5 years. Nothing has changed. You know, if I'm gonna keep busting my head upside the wall, you know, eventually I'm gonna bleed to death, because me bumping my head against the wall is not gonna knock that wall down. And that's what I think this movement is doing. When you look at some of the, that's why I don't even watch some of these anymore, because actually it's the same. Some of these meetings, they're really the same meetings. They're just at different locations. Yeah. Okay, and for me personally, I'm an action guy. You know, Action Jackson. Yeah. Well, no, that's not my last name, but I like to see things done. I like to see progress. And if you're telling me in 4.5 years, the powers that be have not moved, I'm simply saying it's time to change your tactics. Whatever they may be, I don't know. But it's time to change your tactics because nothing has changed. And the way it's looking right now, ain't nothing going to change. Because, as I said, this governor has told you to kiss his ass. That's pretty clear. He won't meet with you. He won't come to your community meetings. I can't remember the last time Asa Hutchinson has been out in a public forum in Arkansas, in Little Rock. I can't remember. Now, he may have, but I can't remember when he's even, as a matter of fact, I can't even remember when he's addressed this particular issue publicly. You get that, right?
Yeah.
So, in 4.5 years, now I've been here about 4 years. In 4.5 years, I cannot remember the person responsible for taking over the Little Rock School District making a public statement. You take over the largest school district in the state, and you don't have to answer to the citizens of that district, of that city. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You never make a public statement at all, and no one is demanding. So what I'm saying is that this governor has said, kiss my ass. And until we understand that, okay, if that's what you want to do, it's time to change the tactics.
So this is what I believe. I believe it's all about your approach, right? I think people sometimes think you can make a lot of noise and people will hear you. And I think sometimes in some cases that works, right? But you've been making noise for 4 years. And nobody's come to you and said, okay, how can we address this? How can we fix this, right? Again, the strategy, you should have two strategies working here. If you want to do the rah 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 thing and be out there and do all that, that's cool. I'm not knocking. I think that's important. But you have to have a meeting where you're having conversations, because you can't fix anything without conversation. You gotta have conversations, and you're not having conversations in these open forums with 50 people. That's not a conversation.
But I agree with that.
You're not sitting in a room with somebody who can make a decision. You're not having a conversation.
But
you're not doing me any justice.
But I agree with all of that. But here's the problem. A conversation requires two sides. If one side has already told you to kiss his butt, how you gonna have a conversation with him?
Who told you that, though?
When was the last time he had a conversation about this publicly?
Why would he?
Why shouldn't he?
He doesn't talk about any other school district. Why would he talk about Little?
Because he hadn't taken over. The other school districts aren't the largest in the country, in the state.
And even more so, you ready for the biggest thing? You ready for the biggest thing?
Sure.
I don't need Arkansas. I don't need Pulaski County to win. I don't need Little Rock to win as a Republican. I don't need Little Rock.
So again,
I give a damn about Little Rock.
Exactly. That's my point. You just said what I said.
You think that's what it is?
He's basically said
that's what it is?
Exactly.
I don't think that's what it is.
I think that's what it is.
I think what has happened is.
Look, let me ask you something. If he needed Little Rock to win re-election, would he have been number one, would he have taken over the school district? And number two,
hold on.
would it have lasted this long?
Let me take you back.
No, it wouldn't have.
Let me take you back. I remember when I first started doing this, when I first became an advocate, I think it was probably 2000, not when I first started, but about 2011, 2012, I got tagged as a bully, right? And what I realized is, as an advocate, if I want to help people, I can't be tagged or labeled as a bully. So I got to look at what I'm doing and do it differently, right? All right, so after self-analyzation, after self-evaluation, what I realized, it ain't really me. I ain't the one, I'm not doing anything that's bullyish. I'm 6'5", I weigh 300 pounds, and I'm a big black dude, right? So anytime I walk in a room, I'm a bully. Because if I had a gun, it'd be even worse, right? So I realized it wasn't me, but I did not want to be tagged as a bully. There are people who are tagging this group as bullies, therefore they don't want to deal with them. Because the thing is you haven't given an argument, an intelligent argument, that I can go, I never thought about that. Now, Judge Griffin made some great points, Judge Griffin made some great points. Ryan Davis made some great points. Even Diane Charles made some good points. Everybody made very valid points about getting the district back and why they should have never taken the district. But the conversation that we need to be having is, how do we fix it? We know they took it over. How do we transition from the takeover to the fix? We haven't transitioned from the takeover to the fix. That's what the problem is. All they've ever talked about was the takeover. Governor ain't interested in the takeover. He's interested in the fix. You get that, right? Governor don't want to talk takeover. He want to talk fix.
He's not interested in the fix.
How you know?
Because if he's interested in fix, then he would be engaging people in the community.
Why would he?
He should.
Why would he?
Because it's our community. He's not God. He is not the be all to end all. And if he's interested in a fix, if you want to fix something and you want to help somebody else, it's the very thing we said about the city council yesterday. Bringing something to the black community and saying, oh, this is going to fix y'all. It's the same concept. If he's interested in a fix, then he ought to be talking to someone. Who is he talking to? You just can't put all the blame on the advocates. Who is the governor talking to try to fix it?
I have to put all the blame on
You cannot.
Yes, I do.
Look.
Let me tell you why I have to. Let me tell you why I have to.
Let me ask you something.
They say
if I repossess your car,
okay.
Let's use your car analogy.
Okay.
You pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, look, I know you repossessed my car. What do I do to get my car back? All right?
Right.
But I never answer the phone.
No.
How you going to get your car back? You not. Okay? So if the governor is responsible for this and he's sincere about wanting to return the district to local control, then he is the one should be leading this charge. Forget about what everybody else is saying. You're a politician. You got thick skin. All right? If you are sincere about fixing this problem, then you need to be engaging people in this community. The problem is, and exactly what you said, he don't need Little Rock, okay? Because I'm telling you, if he needed Little Rock for re-election, he would have never taken over this school district, period.
All right, Dave. I will acquiesce, okay? But let me tell you something.
Wait a minute, what that mean?
Let me tell you something. So if you're going to start, that means you win. I'll give you that point.
Okay.
I'll give you that point.
How you spell that?
Yeah, whatever, dude. You don't know how to spell it? Listen. So
A Q E.
Stop.
Sorry.
If you are going to fight this fight, there's a chain of command you follow, right? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The AEA board took your district over. That's where you start.
Mm-hmm.
You have to force them to tell you what you have to do to get your district back under local control. Right? What improvements do we need to make? First and foremost. Now, you work with them. If you don't get resistance with them, then you go to the governor. My point to you is, if you're not having meetings with the AEA board, Johnny Key, if you're not sitting down having closed door conversations with these people, you are not doing your damn job, Dave. It's just that simple. You can't jump from nowhere to the governor. You ain't been through the damn process. That's stupid of me to say, you know what, Dave? That's like me doing this, Dave. Look, check this out, Dave. So I got a problem with my sidewalk being cracked, right? And instead of me saying, you know what, I need to go to Public Works first. No, I'm just going to the mayor. No, Dave, I'm going to go through the process. You know why I'm going through the process? Because at each level of that process, Dave, I'm going to learn something that I need to know. Well, guess what? Public Works said that ain't their thing.
I'm going to the mayor myself.
You probably would. That wouldn't be smart, though. I'm going to go to Public Works.
I'm going to the mayor.
I'm going to go to a guy in Public Works first.
You can go.
Then
You can go talk to Billy Bob in the orange jacket all you want. Dave W. Coleman. I'm going to the mayor.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just saying. Now you go right ahead with your little story.
Oh, I don't know what to say now. go to I'm going to public works. I'm gonna talk to somebody in public works. If I don't get satisfaction from them, then guess where I'm gonna go? I'm gonna go to the mayor. I'm gonna go to the assistant. I'm gonna go to the guy who's the assistant in public works. But see, Dave, I'm gonna work myself up. I'm gonna work myself all the way up the chain. The reason I'm doing that is because you can never tell me to go back because you skipped a step. You with me? I need to cover all my bases because I ain't got time to be jacking around. I'm gonna cover all my bases. Now, when I get to the mayor, if I gotta go there, guess what I got? I got paperwork that everybody I done talk to. This is what they told me. 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 Now, Matt, what can you do for me? Because they told me they can't do nothing for me. Can you do anything for me? Now, this is the thing. I don't know if this group has talked to AEA, if they've had a discussion with the AEA board independently, where they just sit down with members of the AEA board and had conversations with them, one-on-one conversations, right? I've had one-on-one conversations with city directors about issues that I thought were important. Because, dude, those things are important. I want to sit down and have one-on-one conversations with them. Because they're important. I'm not trying to go to the board and say, hey, y'all, I think this is important, and I want y'all to consider it. No. I sat down and had one-on-one meetings with them. We talked about them. We discussed them. We talked about the pros and the cons. And then I left feeling, even if they don't agree with me, I now know you know. Right? You cannot say that this group has done that. Can you say that? Can you say that, Dave?
I don't know whether they've done it or not.
Okay. So if they haven't followed the steps, Dave, then there's no way in the hell, if I was a governor, I would give them a meeting. Because Dave, I have yet to hear you offer one solution to the problem. You know the school districts were taken over because schools were failing. That's what you know for a fact.
So
hold on, Dave. And you know that 85% of all kids who leave Little Rock schools, right? 85% of all kids who go to Arkansas colleges have to take remedial courses. You know these things are factual. If that's the case, then we know that we have a problem. I have yet to hear anyone offer a solution to those problems.
Has the governor and his cronies offered a solution?
They've offered solutions. I ain't saying they're the right ones.
What solutions?
But they've offered solutions. What have they offered? Don't you say?
Yeah, what have they offered?
I don't remember all of them, but I know they've offered solutions. But of course, they have to offer solutions.
Here's what we do know, that in the 4.5 years since the takeover,
okay,
nothing has improved.
No. And why would it?
But wait a minute. It's supposed to. That's why you took it over, isn't it?
Yeah, but why would it, though?
Well, why shouldn't it?
But hold on, Dave. That's not their fault.
Wait a minute.
No, it's not their fault. No,
wait a minute.
No,
Wait a minute.
No,
wait a minute.
No, it ain't their fault.
Wait a minute. You borrowed my car.
Yeah.
You wrecked my car.
I sure did.
You bring it back to me and say, hey, dog, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you probably vet me to make sure I could drive? You probably vet me to make sure I had a driver's license. Dave, if you're an advocate, Dave, your job is to advocate for the people that you are working with, right? Mm-hmm. That is your job, to advocate on their behalf. Unfortunately, they have not advocated for them, Dave. And if you haven't advocated for them, then how do you expect them? How can you expect them? I'm sorry, let me go back. I lost my train of thought. If you have people, if your job is to advocate for the school district, and the school district, however, you have not reached out to the people you need to reach out to. You have not reached out to them and said, okay, they said that this is what we have to do to get back local control.
But they haven't said any of that.
Okay, so why have you let this conversation get this far and you not know what the criteria is, Dave? The whole point of the whole point of the movement is to get back my district.
If I don't ever talk to you,
Dave, you got the AEA board you can talk to. You got Johnny Key you can talk to. You got a ton of folks you can talk to before you get to the damn governor. You can't go to the governor because you haven't talked to all these other folk.
Johnny Key has been addressed. Michael Poore has been addressed.
Okay, so hold on.
All of them have been addressed.
Very good point. So they talked to Michael Poore. Michael Poore knows what he needs to do to get his school off of academic distress. Why have they not had the conversation with him? Are you telling me that these people are not talking to them?
I don't know if they're talking to him or not, but if you would tend to believe that as public as this issue is, we should know as just the citizens, okay? If you want us to believe that, okay, you took the school over because it was having some problems. All right, that's fine. Now, what are you going to do about it? There hasn't even been any indication of what needs to be done, just as from a public standpoint. The public don't even know. What I do know is you took the schools over, you said it was failing. Okay, I got that. I appreciate that. You said because you're taking it over, you're going to do a better job. That hasn't happened. That's all I'm saying. Regardless of what the advocates are doing or not doing, you said 4 years ago that by taking over the schools were going to be better. They're not. Okay? They're not. So why aren't we asking the question, why aren't they better? Why aren't we asking, why hasn't the governor and his cronies come out and said, hey, look, it's been 4 years, they hadn't gotten any better. Here's why they haven't gotten any better. I'm not hearing that from, he owes that to,
who owes that to?
The governor owes that to the citizens of Little Rock. He owes that, he took over our school system. It's been 4 years and the school systems have not improved. Forget about what the advocates are doing. You took it over. You took my car. You said that you were going to take care of my car when you borrowed it. And now you're bringing my damn, and you ain't even brought my car back, but I saw my car going down the street and the side panel has been wrecked. Okay? Then I saw it again and the front grill is out. You said when you took my car that you're taking my car because it needs some work.
You ready? Can I say this, Dad?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I remember being in a meeting with someone. Everybody ask me who it is.
Who was it?
White people say, and I feel this, I feel and truly believe this, and I know this to be very true. White people say, okay, that's your person, that's who you got fighting your fight. Whatever they get you, good luck.
Robert, let me tell you something.
No,
I am so
no,
sick of
no,
white people
no,
trying to tell
no,
black people
no.
who their leaders. Look, we don't tell them who their leaders are.
That's not my point, Dave. That's not my point.
So that argument ain't going to fly with me.
That's not my point.
Okay, go. What's
My
your point?
point is this. If you have an advocate who's advocating on behalf of your district, and she is leading the fight, or they are leading the fight, then they should be engaged in the fight completely. By that I mean, you gotta have a solution. You gotta be solution based. I learned it the hard way. You gotta have solutions, Dave. You cannot just talk about the problem. You gotta have a damn solution. And if you don't have a solution, Dave, nobody's gonna want to talk to you. Because Dave, what can you offer other than we've been mistreated?
They don't have a solution. That's pretty clear.
Do you know they don't have one?
If they had
Do
one.
you know they don't have
Well,
one?
it's pretty.
No, Dave.
I can base that on their history.
My question
if
to
you don't
you-
have a solution in 5 years,
My question to
you don't
is,
have a damn
do
solution.
you know for a fact they don't have a solution?
What
we know is that we get all our information because we're not as involved in this thing as other people are, right? So we get all our information secondhand. And the secondhand information we're only getting what people are telling us. We don't know. Now, I trust the people who will give us information. Hold on, Dave.
Point to me.
I trust the people who
Point
will
to
give us
me in the
information.
news media, in the paper, anywhere that the governor has issued said, "Hey, I got a solution for the Little Rock School District." I'm waiting.
And that's not the governor's job, Dave.
Well, okay. Whoever he has appointed.
That would be Johnny.
Okay, point to me where Johnny Key has said, "Here's the solution."
I don't know if Johnny Key's done that, Dave. I can't say he has. Honestly,
Exactly.
I cannot say he's done it.
So
But Dave-
they have no solution.
But Dave, you say this as though we got a solution. Somebody else has a solution.
I'm simply saying.
So you say
that
our kids are screwed because nobody has a solution.
If you take my
You say our
car,
kids are screwed because nobody has a solution.
exactly, that's the problem.
Okay.
Because if you take my car and wreck it, the solution is fixing it or getting me a new one. Okay? The governor, you can say Johnny Key, but the governor is responsible for this. Okay? He took the school district, he wrecked the school district, and he has no solution. Because if he had a solution, this would have been done a long time ago. He'd have come out and said, okay, Here's what we're going to do. They haven't even offered any means of a solution. They've taken the school district and simply said, kiss my ass. That's what they've done. They haven't offered any type of solution. They haven't said where we want to go, what the short-term and long-term plans are, nothing. This ball is in the governor's court. It ain't in the advocate's court, because at the end of the day, it's pretty clear the advocates have no power. They can go to meeting after meeting after meeting. That's why I brought up the fact that at some point you got to change your tactics.
Advocates have power. I just think it's all about your approach. All about what your approach is.
Look, they have no power. I hate to say that. No offense. They're out there fighting their tails out. I appreciate it. But if you had power, then you'd be at the table. You have no power. And the reason you have no power, because the majority of the people that are responsible for this school district is not backing this school district. You have no power. You don't have the clergy, you don't have the church, you don't have the mosque, you don't have the synagogue, because you don't actually have to have votes. You just got to make a lot of noise. Right now, these are the same people making the same noise. At some point, you get tuned out. That's what has happened. Now, you bring in that meeting, if there would have been 500 people at that meeting, that's a different story. If there had been 500 people from churches all across this city, that's a different story. But because no one is saying anything, the governor can sit back and say, hey, that's the same 10 people. I ain't worried about them. That's the problem. No one is putting pressure on this governor to issue a solution. Most of the black people are throwing their hands back. Oh, well, we'll just see what happens to us. That's what they're doing. And until we change the tactics and take this bull by the horn and say, hey, look, we don't have to tell them what we're going to do, but maybe we do need to show up and boycott if that's the remedy. I don't know. But what you've been doing is not doing a damn thing except howling at the moon. That's why I'm saying tactics need to be changed. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree. However, I believe it's really important to have a conversation with people who can make a change. And I don't think that has been done yet. I don't think there have been people who sit around the table and go, okay, how can we fix this? Because listen, man, at the end of the day, if something's going on with the city, I don't want to be on the outside looking in. I want to be at the table. And I'm damn sure going to be at the table.
Well, I'm going to be at the table, and I'm not going to let you determine who's going to sit at the table beside me. We through with that. I'm done with that. White people try to tell me who just because you don't like a person. Hey, I don't like your ass, but I got to sit at the table with you. Period.
We look at things that happen in our community, and we wonder why things never happen. And so we have to sometimes look at, maybe this wasn't the best approach. Maybe we should have did this, or maybe we should have did that. It's always something different, right? We never know exactly what it is. But Dave, I have enough love and respect for you that if you came to me and said, hey, Rob, I've been watching for the last couple of months, man. What are you hoping to accomplish?
Rob, I've been watching for the last couple of months, man. What do you hope to accomplish, man? What you doing, man?
I'm retired, player. Oh. What you want me to do? And if you came to me and said, hey, man, well, from what I'm seeing, I don't think you're going to get the desired result. So maybe you might want to change your strategy, right? Well, Dave, if that's the way you feel, you should go and tell the people who are running to go do that. That's what you should do.
I've been saying that from day one.
You should tell them. Hey, y'all need to change your strategy now. Unfortunately, I think it's too late. I shouldn't say I think it's too late.
Well, look, let me tell you something.
I think there's still an opportunity.
There is nothing those advocates can do to change what's going on.
How so?
Because the governor has already told y'all to kiss his ass.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
Here's why I'm saying.
Let me say why I don't think he has.
Let me say. Here's why I'm saying this. Is because if you were sincere about returning local control to the people of Little Rock, you would be addressing this issue. Again, this guy has never publicly addressed this issue.
And because, Dave, there's no reason for him to.
Because
he's never publicly addressed anything.
Because he's told you to kiss his ass.
That's what you want to believe that he's saying.
I can only go by evidence.
And I don't think so. I think if you want if you want somebody to respond to you, right? If you want someone to respond to you, then you have to do things that will make them respond. You have to do things that will make them responsive. I don't know. I don't know if they've done anything yet to make them be
We
responsive.
need to have a Popeyes chicken boycott.
No, you need to have conversations, Dave. You need to be sitting at the table having conversations, talking about how we fix this. What does that look like?
I'm having dinner,
creating
Robert.
timelines.
You want to have a conversation with me, right?
Okay,
I ain't gonna invite you to dinner.
that's cool.
How you gonna have a conversation with
Through email. I'm gonna have a conversation with somebody who somebody's gonna eventually say, "Hey, you need to sit down with the governor.
me? Well,
This sounds good. You need to sit down with the
so
governor."
what you're saying, you don't believe that any of those people, the Senator Joyce Elliott, Senator Chesterfield,
They talk to the governor.
any of those people
They
have,
talk to the governor.
okay,
I'm sure.
so that's my point, is that I'm pretty sure there are people that have talked to this governor about this issue. The governor has said, kiss my ass.
You know for a fact the governor said that.
I'm just going by his actions.
You can't go by his actions because again, you have to see if your people have done all the action steps. They're action steps, Dave.
What action steps?
You gotta have conversation with people on each level.
What action
You
steps?
gotta have conversation with people on the AA board.
so-
You gotta have a conversation
so-
with Johnny Key.
So are you saying that the senators that I just mentioned, they have to go through Johnny Key to talk to the governor? Because apparently, I'm pretty sure Senator Chesterfield and all of them would have released, okay, I talked to the governor, here's what the governor has said we need to do, what we need to do to get this school district back. Have they released that?
No, but are we sure that those conversations have been had?
Oh, are you saying that Senator Chesterfield and the other Senator Joyce?
No, I'm not saying
Elliott
anything.
aren't doing their job?
The
Is
point
that what you're
the
saying,
question
Robert?
I'm asking you is,
Are you think that they didn't ask
question
that
that I'm
question?
asking you is, if they had those conversations, then why don't we know what the criteria is to remove the school district back to local control?
Okay.
That ain't complicated.
Maybe
Dave.
they didn't have the conversations.
Well, who had them?
Maybe the governor didn't offer any reasons. He hadn't been open to anyone else. Maybe he didn't tell them this is what you need. Because I have to believe that if Senator Joyce Elliott and Senator Linda Chesterfield, if that information was disseminated to them from the governor, that they would release that information. There has been no information for 4.5 years on what you need to do to meet certain criteria. Nothing. That's probably why people are beginning to ask that question that you are so upset about, is what we need to do to get our schools back. Because there has been, if I'm wrong, find it. Find me the documents that's from the governor's office, from Johnny Key.
No, y'all have to find those documents.
But wait a minute.
Why the office falls on you. Hold on, Dave.
If there are documents
Hold on.
available,
No.
why wouldn't they have those?
No, Dave.
Why wouldn't they give that to Senator
Dave.
Chesterfield and Senator Elliott?
Dave.
Why wouldn't they give it to the two senators?
Dave.
Why wouldn't the governor give that information to those senators?
Dave.
Yes, Rob. You got
If
60 seconds.
If this is my fight, I already know what I need to do to get my school back under local control. And I have put together a plan to move toward that. I'm sitting down having conversations with Mike Poore. I'm having conversations with Johnny Key. I'm having conversations with people with the board, with the AA board chair. I'm having these conversations and we're talking about progress and talking about how we're moving and grooving.
What if I don't want to have a conversation with you?
You don't want your district back.
No. I'm talking about, I got your district. What if I don't want to talk to you?
Well, I don't believe nobody doesn't want to talk. Now let me back you up a little bit. When this thing first went down, everybody said Johnny Key makes a decision. Johnny Key makes a decision.
Well, that was misguided.
No, it wasn't. Johnny Key made the decision, but now all of a sudden I was the governor.
Johnny Key never made the decision. Johnny Key, he had to go through the governor to say, hey, look, I'm gonna take the school district over. This is the
He
governor.
wasn't even there when they took the school district over.
But that's my point, is that he don't have this falls flat in the lap of the governor. Period. And until the governor says,
I totally disagree.
well, who does it fall in the lap of?
This is my only point. I can't say who it does or doesn't fall in the lap of, and the reason I can't say, Dave, the only reason I can't say, Dave,
Because you turn Republican.
No.
Oh, Lord.
no,
This Roberts is more Republican
I
now.
don't know if everybody's done their due diligence.
I'm a parent. I want to know when my school district is going to come back to local control. Can you tell me, Mr. Governor? Do I deserve to know? My kids in that school.
Valid point. That's a valid point.
So that's what I'm saying.
But we have turned this over to people, and we expect those people to do their job.
I'm just simply saying,
this is their job.
If you care about my students, then can't you tell me what I need to do, what we need to do as citizens, Mr. Governor, to get back local control? Is there a list? You know, it's kind of like dating. Robert, if you were going to go out and date some guy, a girl, whatever you chose, you know, there's a checklist. We all have checklists. Okay? If I'm going to date you, here's what she's going to have to be. This. Right? Same principle applies, man. I took your school district. You want it back. Here's what you need to do. To my knowledge, there is no documentation, nothing out there, no video conversation, no phone call, no email, no nothing that has said, from the governor's point of view, here's what I want to see before I turn over local control. That's all I want to know. That way I got something to shoot for. You know, right now, I'm out in the middle of the ocean flailing because I don't know which direction to go. That's, I think, where the frustration is. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm just saying. You know.
All right, we'll agree to disagree.
All right. Well, I know you got a cover for your little Republican friends.
You are sick.
Oh, see, that touched the nerve. See, I got upset, y'all. See, look, listen. Okay, I'm just kidding, Rob. Okay, I just played. Okay.
You're so sweet, Dave.
All right, we got to get out of here.
You're such a sweet guy.
Oh, gee, thanks, man. I try
You're so
hard.
sweet, Dave.
Yeah. You got to say your little thing. So you see, that shows you're mad.
Hey, spend money on community if you don't. Nobody else will. Peace.
Oh, that was like, see, that was like mean. You didn't even mean it. All right, we got to get out of here, folks. Let me just read this last thing from Malcolm. Having the opportunity to ride on the front, the back, or the middle of someone else's bus doesn't dignify you. When you have your own bus, then you will have dignity. Y'all have a great day.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions and our voices. Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on JoynetRadio.com. You have it, the Joy Network.